Track wrestling with Mark Manning, head wrestling coach at the University of Nebraska. This is funny because usually when we're interviewing you, it has to do with USA Wrestling and Jordan Burroughs and James Green. You're actually the Nebraska coach, aren't you?
I have a real job, paid job.
What do you feel like you do? Like, you have so many jobs. Being head coach of Nebraska is one of them. How many other jobs do you have?
Well, with the, 10 years ago when Zeke Jones started the RTC programs, it's, the international element of your program is really, really important. We have kids that come to Nebraska that they want it on the next level. They want to be world and Olympic champions. They dream of that when they're little kids. That's their goal, and they want coaches that are committed to that. And I think Coach Snyder and I have done a good job of fostering that environment. And we both really love freestyle and as well as folk style. But yeah, it's another job, and it's part of it right now.
How do you keep up with the RTC arms race?
I don't really keep up with it. We're not one of those people that are doing all that crazy stuff. We'd rather it come from our program, development from within. But yeah, there are guys that have reached out in the past 2-3 years, 4 or 5 years really, that have interest in coming. We've had some guys come and train, and that's all great too. But it's got to be the right guy, and it's got to be for the right reason, because we're going to pour our heart and soul into those guys. So,
how many other programs have tried to get Jordan Burroughs?
About 3, but he's not going anywhere. And with this being his last year, he wants to go out in style, and he wants to go out with people that have his best interest, that know his heart, and know how he is as a competitor. And that's most important this year for him. We're going to push him and get the most out of it. And, he loves that, and we love it as coaches of him. And James and Jordan have a lot going on in their lives with family, and that's important, and that's important to us because, it's about the whole person.
Jordan Burroughs has changed wrestling as we know it. Now we're down to the last year, like you talked about. How do we embrace this? How do we enjoy such a special person in our sport?
Man, it's that's a great question. My focus is just get him on that Olympic team, and then focus on being an Olympic champion. But there's a lot of things play into that, and but really, there's been so many great competitors through the years, legendary performers, and it's great to have Jordan in our room, but we're going to miss him when he's gone. And it's all about him going out on top, and that's what we want best for him.
James Green and Jordan Burroughs are now at the same weight class. How's that working out?
Yeah, they're training. Also Tyler Burroughs, so they're all training together, and they all have their best interest as far as they're helping each other, and it's an awesome environment. And but only one guy. The reality is one guy can make the team, and so we'd love to have a couple of those guys in the finals.
You are going to wrestle at the University of Northern Iowa tomorrow. We're in Waterloo, Cedar Falls right now. Your first head coaching job was at the University of Northern Iowa. Do you remember that day when you found out you were going to get your first head coaching job from UNI?
Yeah, I'm always grateful and very thankful for Chris Retrieve. There was a lot of Iowa guys. I grew up in South Dakota, but I was coaching at the University of Oklahoma at that time, and just very grateful for Chris Retrieve and the people around him that noticed that I would do a good job and entrusted me with running the program. And I had Steve Hamilton and Brad Penrith and Tolly Thompson with me, and just a fun time. A lot of work though, man. A lot of work, and it's always work. But you got to enjoy it with the people around, and those guys were really great. We had a special time.
Is there any part of you that's going to be sentimental about going into the West Gym?
Well, I remember us drywalling our offices without really any approval. Kind of a so there wasn't a lot of I would say guidance during those times. So we just kind of did what we had to do to make it special. And yeah, West Gym is always special. I have a great relationship with Chris Bucknam, who was a longtime track and field coach, and now is at the University of Arkansas. And Bucky, I stay in touch with him today. He's awesome. And Bobby, the volleyball coach, Bobby Peterson, she does an awesome job. I heard from one of my friends today that she just won her conference tournament last night, and those people are colleagues, and I admire them a lot.
You can only have your first NCAA champion. There's only one of them, and he's in the background as we interview. It's Tony Davis, won it in 2000, and that was special because the first NCAA champion for UNI since 1963, and you got it with Tony Davis. What did Tony bring to the program that you knew was going to be special?
Well, obviously people that watched Tony wrestle knew he was a special talent. And we just had to match his work ethic to that talent. And we knew we could bring out the best in him as a competitor. And, the year before, he got beat by T.J. Williams, his high school buddy, grew up, kids program together. And, but we, Tony matured, grew up, and just like any athlete, they're going to get better if they stay with it, stay with the plan, stay with the program, and Tony did, and he had a really great senior year, and just great moments. I remember all the heartaches too, and that's what makes it sweet. You remember the tough struggles through some academic issues and some just weight cutting issues and all that stuff that goes into wrestling. It makes the person. It's not about the perfection of someone. It's about their work ethic and their attitude. And Tony always had a great attitude and fun to be around, and that made it easier to get the effort out of him.
I've heard he had freakish talent when you watched him in the room and then, of course, on the mat. Did you just shake your head at some of the stuff he pulled out?
Yeah, he was amazing. Amazing hips. I remember wrestling one of my favorite wrestlers from another team is a guy named Jared Lawrence. And Jared didn't even know that, but I've had a great relationship with Jared Lawrence through the years. And but he wrestled Jared Lawrence as a freshman in the semifinals, and it was a hard-fought match. Tony ended up winning, kind of wide, not big margin, but Tony should have. One guy was a freshman and Tony was a senior, but I remember that was a scrap, and I knew Jared Lawrence was going to be a beast, and turns out he was. But I just remember different moments like that, and Tony was a great competitor. Not only a great talent. There's a lot of guys out there with talent, but he bought into that work ethic. His last year, he did the year before. He took it to another level, and he did everything he needed to do to put himself in that position.
What do you like best about being a head coach?
Great question. Well, to me, I'm hard on myself, so I know when there's mistakes that are made, it falls back on me. It's my fault that they happened, and so I always take accountability for it and understand that I have to do better. And so I kind of look at it that way. I don't always look at the great things that we're doing. I look at the things where we're deficient at and we need to get better at. And so I look at myself first and foremost. So.
We know that Jordan Burroughs is going into the next phase of his life after 2020. What do you want to do beyond head coaching? Any ideas?
Yeah, I've thought about it. Relatively young. Some people's mind, I'm probably old, but it doesn't matter what they think. It's what I am about. And I don't know. I feel I have a great skill set of a lot of different things, but I wouldn't be a I wouldn't be afraid to go into administration. I think administrators, college administrators, athletic directors, whatever you want to say, it's. I think there's a need for a different kind of leadership, and I think I would have a good skill set. But right now, God calls me to be a wrestling coach, and that's what I'm most passionate about. And I've made a lot of commitments to guys that are coming into our program, and that's where my focus really is.
You have your team right behind you. They're getting ready for the UNI meet. What do these guys want out of this experience?
I think, we don't get caught up in talking too much about different environments. We just talk. We know it's going to be, a big-time environment tomorrow, and people hooting and hollering and getting crazy. But at the end of the day, it's about our 10 guys against their 10 guys. It's really simple. It's about getting our guys ready to compete, do their best, and that's what I look at is really keep it simple. What do our guys have to do to be successful? And number one thing is they have to bring the right mentality to the match, and then they have to bring the right effort. And I really believe a lot in our guys and believe in this team. And I know we're going to be a different team a couple weeks from now than they are now. And just keep building this team into something great.
We're at the Dan Gable Museum. Jim Miller is the director here. When you were a first-year head coach, you guys wrestled Wartburg, and you guys lost. You remember that meet?
You're right. I do remember that meet. Yeah, I remember. There wasn't always fun times there that first year or two at UNI. Millboy, a lot of respect. I knew Jim a little bit before I went to UNI, and I got to know him a lot more those 3 years I was here, and then ever since. And he's awesome, means a lot to me. He's a great friend, someone I look to and ask him about advice through the years, and he's just really, he's super at what he did as a coach, but also just as a person and how he handles relationships. He's an expert.
Let's end with this. Just maybe 2 or 3 people that have influenced you to this point, that you just said, you know what, this is how I got to this point. They fundamentally got me to this point, how I'm able to accomplish my job.
Well, I think I come from a big family. I have 10 other brothers and sisters, so family is very important to me. My family's been very instrumental in my life, and so, number one, I'd have to start with my wife, Carrie Manning, has done an awesome job of helping raise my boys, and she's huge as a coach. You gotta lean on people to do so much stuff, and Carrie does that for me, and she's always there for me. And it's big. You gotta have a great wife, and we all know those things that it's huge in coaching. The second guy really probably is second person is probably my brother Tim. He's been a great influence on my life. He's very successful in the business world. He also wrestled, but he's a big time. He's big time in the corporate world. He's just got a lot of great ideas, a lot of great advice, and he's someone I lean on and look up to, and we're great friends as well as loving brothers. So, and then just my family. So I have different people that I look up to, and Coach Osborne has been a big force in my life too. Once he became athletic director, and we formed a relationship, but just different people through the years that I've been really fortunate to have around.
Are you still the Mangler? Could we get you back here and get a couple people to try to block you? Go back and watch that video if you haven't, because it's Mark the Mangler Manning. That was a great video. What a great moment. Hey, thanks for this time, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.